Hello, everybody. Welcome to my talk. I am late. I didn't post this yesterday, but I got busy. Life happens. Um, my guys came home early, so I had to cook and, after work, so I didn't have time to, or I didn't make time to do my video. But this is gonna be a short one because I thought it was gonna go more into, where to go. To get the bonds and the treasury bonds and the government bonds, but we did that on last week's video, and so this week was the last part of chapter 9. It was a long chapter. I made you 3 videos of that chapter. But the last thing they talk about is to become knowledgeable and sophisticated about how you invest, and these treasury bonds and how they're going to help you. So I jotted down, I don't know if I wrote it here, but they recommended a couple of books to read to get more knowledgeable on treasury bonds. So I'm going to go look at probably the library. That way I don't spend money on them, so I can save it for myself and see, because they're older books, so they should be at the library. So I'm gonna go see if I can find them there. There were 2, and they were from around the same time as Your Money or Your Life, which is the one we're talking about now. I love the book. I've implemented several things that they went by, and they've been working for me because it's keeping me up to date on where I'm spending money and where I've spent money that I shouldn't. So I try not to spend it there anymore, which I'm not spending that much money because we're trapped here in COVID times, but we're all vaccinated, so we should be able to go out pretty soon and start with that horribleness of spending money on things that gazangas pins, right? But it was a wonderful experience going through the book and actually applying the steps. Next week I'm gonna go, because the last it's a prologue, I think that's what it's called, and it shows all the steps and whys. So I'm gonna go through all of them next week while I figure out what is the next book I'm gonna read. I do want to do one of the ones they suggested because I want to become more knowledgeable and sophisticated on these bonds that are going to help me out, for my future travels, because that's what I want. And of course, being financially independent, out of debt. So this one was telling, the end of the chapter was more telling me what to read to become knowledgeable. So I have my notes here and I will read them to you. So the one thing, it has 2 things that it told me to do, and one of them was read books on bonds, and it said to go and read them a couple of times so you can understand. So they know that it's not easy to understand. I know that's the way I'm gonna go, because it's the less risky way, and I'm gonna keep my money safe, so it could snowball to better heights to help me out. But I don't know, even in reading the book, I know that's where I want to go, but I don't know how to actually do it. I looked it up and I know where to go. I just need to save some money so I could start, and we got to start somewhere, right? So it says to grab a book, read it a couple times so you really understand what these are and what they're going to do for you. And then it also says to read the Wall Street Journal, specifically the government bond tables and the section on credit markets, which explain what the market is doing and often explains the terms that are being used, which are, the yield and the at and all the stuff I talked to you about last week. Understanding the relationship between price and the yield. There you go. So there's a formula here. It's current yield equals coupon rate divided by current price. So coupon rate is something I need to learn. I don't remember it from last week, coupon rate. But, current yield equals coupon rate divided by current price. So there we go. And then it went on to say that the elements in an FI investment program, financial independence, so the elements are cushion and cachet. It actually gave me another one, but I didn't write it down. Must not have thought it was as interesting or informative. But anyway, the cushion, which I believe I talked about before too, but the cushion is your total monthly expenses times 6 readily available in the bank account or money market fund. So it's the same thing. Everybody, who I've heard, forever, because she's on the Oprah magazine all the time, but Susie Orman, she always says that you have to have 6 months of money saved in case you get fired, or COVID happens, or enough. 6 months is enough to take care of your expenses for those 6 months, and within those 6 months you should be able to find something to replace what was making your funds before that time. So that's why you need 6 months of savings, and that would be your cushion. And then it says, you are not financially independent until you have a cushion. This is to handle emergencies and the months between bonds interest payments. Oh, so they're talking about once you have the bonds, because bonds, what did we learn? That they pay every 6 months. So you need to have that 6-month cushion for the months in between when you get your interest from the treasury bond. So there you go. I didn't even know I wrote that, but both things work. And what they're talking about is to completely not have a job. Like once you're financially independent, like you would have your money and the treasury bonds, and you would live off of the interest, and that way you would have more time for you to live your life happy and your best life without having to work for somebody else, right? Anyway, that's the goal in the future, and that's the goal that this book particularly talks about. And then cachet, and this is really, really cool. Cachet. In pioneer days, a cachet was a hole in the ground where travelers buried for later use provisions that were too heavy to carry. So that's what cachet was. I don't know, when I was reading cachet, and in this chapter, and I believe chapter 8, I'm like, it sounded like a sophisticated word, but I didn't know what they were talking about. But that's how that word started. It was a hole on the ground because people couldn't carry like everything that was worth something to them, so they would bury it on the ground, so when they came back, it's theirs, they could use it. And then it goes on to say, in your FI program, your cachet is a store of extra money beyond your capital or your cushion that builds up for future use. Funds feeding the cachet account come from numerous sources. And again, a cachet would be money that you don't need for everyday living expenses. So it would be more than your cushion, because your cushion is your 6 months between, your interest, or your 6 months that will help you get through till you get a new job if you lost yours. But that's your cushion. So the cachet is money after those 6 months that you have saved up for just your travel. my travel. But that's what I have for you. That's what I have for you today. And I actually thought this was really interesting. Like everything I just read to you, it was fun. And I am so happy to be finished with the book and to apply it. It's finally, like I said at the beginning, I had read it like 3 times already, like in parts, and never really got the full meaning, or I never even try to apply any of the steps, which next week I'm going to go through all the steps in case you haven't wrote them down or haven't seen the previous videos. I will show you, I will tell you why every step is important, and some of them are really fun actually. I have a bunch of graphs going over there. But yes, right now I'm preparing for the book. Like I said at the beginning, and there's the books they recommended, and then there's some books like there's people that I listen to. What is his name? Tony Robbins has a book, and he says that there's a secret in there on, financial independence and how to get there fast, or what steps to follow. I want to read that one too. And there's several. There's very interesting people out there that just have this big mind and heart, and they motivate me to know that I'm gonna get to financial independence. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I'm gonna keep sharing. Hopefully you enjoy my summaries of the chapters of the books I read, but I think it's exciting. I like learning and then sharing them with you. So see you next Thursday with the summary of the 10 steps, and then we will be moving on to another book. If you like what you heard, or you like hearing me talk, subscribe, and you will get my stories every Tuesday and Thursday, and then my project on the side on Sundays. That one's small because I should do the work first and then video the project, but I always videotape as I'm going there to tell you what I'm gonna do. But the week after, you see what I did. Anyway, different story. We're talking about finances now. So if you have any questions, if you want to suggest any books, just let me know. I'll read them, and I will give you a summary. I will read them for you. So ta-ta. See you till next Thursday. Bye-bye.